Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Ting, and I help you learn Chinese in a simple and practical way. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to express cause and effect in Chinese using 因为,所以, because, so. This is one of the most important and useful structures in everyday Chinese. I'll explain it in English with simple Chinese examples, so it's easy to follow. You can also turn on subtitles and choose your preferred language if needed. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to our Chinese mini lesson. I'm Mingming.
And I'm Lily.
Today we're going to tackle a super useful structure for connecting a reason with a result. You're going to use this one all the time. Okay, so let's jump right in. Take a look at the picture here on the screen. The question is, why is she so happy? Any ideas? You got it. A great way to answer that would be, because today is her birthday, so she is very happy. Now those two words, 因为 and 所以, are the stars of our show today. That's exactly what we're here to talk about. Right. This 因为所以 structure is, it's one of the first big building blocks you learn in Chinese. Just think of it as the direct equivalent of saying because, so in English. It's all about linking a cause with an effect. The setup is really simple. You start with 因为 to give your reason. That's the because part. And then you follow it up with 所以 to give the result. That's the so part. Easy enough, right? Let's look at it in a couple of real sentences. For this first one, because the weather is cold, so she didn't go swimming. The reason? Cold weather. The result? No swimming. Makes sense. And how about this one? Because our family's dog is black, so we call it Little Black. Again, a super clear reason, the dog's color, leads to a perfectly logical result. Its name. So, if you remember one thing from this first part, let it be this. Reason first, then the result. Always. That's the golden rule for this basic structure. Okay, now that we've got the basic order down, reason, then result, let's talk about a little secret. The position of these words can actually be a bit flexible. First up, let's look at 因为. Yeah, 因为is pretty chill. You can actually put it either before the subject of the sentence or right after it. And guess what? The meaning doesn't change at all. Check this out. You could say 因为我工作忙, which means because I am busy with work. Or you could say 我因为工作忙, putting the subject I first. Both of them are 100% correct and mean the exact same thing. See? Super flexible. So 因为 is pretty easygoing, but its partner, 所以, well, it's a little stricter. It has a very firm rule about where it has to go. This is a big one, so listen up. Unlike its flexible friend, 所以 absolutely must come before the subject in the second part of the sentence, the result part. There is no wiggle room on this one. Let's look at a side-by-side comparison to make it super clear. The correct way to say 所以 is 所以我们. The so comes before we. If you try to say 我们所以, nope, that's just not right in Mandarin. So always put 所以right before the subject. So let's just call this the golden rule for 所以. No matter what, it's always going to come directly before the subject of that result clause. Go ahead and lock that one in your brain. Okay, we know how they work together as a team, but do you always need both of them? What do you think? Can they be separated? Yes, they absolutely can. It's actually really common to just use one or the other. You might use 因为 by itself just to give a reason. Or you might use 所以 by itself when the reason is already obvious from the conversation. Let's see how that works. In this first sentence, we're only using 因为. We're just focused on explaining the reason some people skip breakfast, because they get up late. Simple. Now in the second one, we're only using 所以. The reason is kind of implied, right? You say there's a test next week, so the listener understands why you can't hang out. The focus is just on the result. All right, we've got one last thing to show you. It's a special little trick that flips the structure around to change the emphasis just a little bit. Yup, you can actually say the result first and then follow up with 因为 to explain the reason. It feels a lot like you're making a statement and then adding an explanation for it right after. And hey, let's circle all the way back to our first example. You can totally say it this way too. You state the fact, she is very happy. And then you explain why, because today is her birthday. It's a really common and natural way to speak. And that's a wrap on all the main uses. Let's do a super quick review of everything we learned today. Okay, so first, the basic structure. Because for the reason, 所以 for the result. Second, that super important placement rule. 所以 always goes before the subject. Third, you can totally use 因为 or 所以 all by themselves. And finally, you can flip the whole thing and state the result first, then give the reason. And there you have it. You've just added another really important tool to your Chinese toolbox. You're doing an awesome job, so keep up the great work. And definitely make sure you join us for our next lesson. We're going to be breaking down how to say that something is about to happen. It's another structure you'll use constantly in daily conversations. We'll see you then. Bye for now.
Great job finishing today's lesson. Now you know how to use 因为所以 to clearly express cause and effect in Chinese. If you'd like more personalized guidance and speaking practice, you can book a trial lesson through my Preply link in the description. And if this lesson helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next lesson. In the next video, we'll learn how to talk about things that are about to happen using 要,快,快要,就要了. See you next time. Rock it!